Just checking in. I'm so sorry I'm late. Couldn't be helped. It's just crazy news. And we've been on the phone trying to make real sense, real news out of the arrest of Dannia Katzen Gonzalez Ambris and her husband, Jonathan Ambris. Um, so we're going to be talking about that today. And let me see if I'm on. Looks like it. Looks like my connection is better. Okay. Okay. All right. So we are good. We're golden. Um let's just start from the beginning, right? Today is 1,414 days since Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss footprint, and we do not have his remains. Um, we expect, even if they're partial remains, to be given to us. We know that a lot of time has gone by, but we have multiple confirmations. Um, I should say, um, lots of information from multiple sources that uh, the Army does have at least partial remains of Richard. So we expect those back. If other families can get back dismembered, partial remains, we expect to get Richard back also. So that's really, really important. Um, when Richard went missing, we did not just hop in our car and go to El Paso right away, because the Army, um, had manipulated the narrative and um, taken Richard off the rolls. They refused to help us. And so we had to rally our family, friends, group together to figure out what we could do, and what kind of information we could find out and how to search for Richard. So one of those, that helped us was a call out on Instagram, and it received about 50,000 shares. And the military saw that and decided to put Richard back on the rolls. When they did that, they assigned us Mario Hernandez Soto Hernandez, Marlon Soto Hernandez, and the CID lead agent there at Fort Bliss. He's a dirty agent. He's very, very dirty. Marlon Soto. And he proceeded to try to give us some information that would really mislead us, like about Richard's passports, and just some things in his belongings, and other information that would really mislead us. So it was really a twisted narrative from the beginning. And we had to, very quickly, though, we realized that we couldn't trust them, that we needed to go to El Paso, just go and meet everyone face to face and rally. We took a page out of the Vanessa Guillen family's methods to rally. We let everyone know. We organized, got permission to do the rallies, got all the supplies, got the people together, got, places to stay, everything. And we headed out. When we got to El Paso, it wasn't 2 days. It was probably a day and a half. Dannia Katzen contacted us. She contacted us through the hotline. And I spoke with her and I believed her. She is a con artist for a reason because I don't think she's believed now, but at the time I didn't know who she was. And I thought she was calling because we did have, I think, maybe 10,000, if that, um, uh, reward money out there. Maybe, she wanted to try to get that reward money. Hi, Kathleen. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. And so, and it's very late tonight, but couldn't be helped because I have so much information to tell you about Dannia and her connections and what really happened over the last couple days um, with her. But I want to give the background information a little bit because, it has been a long time. For us, it's like yesterday because I remember talking to her. It's all on record. And I turned in, after I spoke with her, I turned in everything to the CID. The CID paid her no mind. They did not bring her in. I thought that was really odd. You have a missing soldier and you have, this tip that's willing to talk to the CID that has, um, some other member of Richard's unit with Richard's credit cards. You would think that they would want to uh, talk to her, but they didn't. And it took almost a month for us nagging to uh, for them to say, okay, we'll call her in and we'll talk to her. So the CID is very bad at their job. Very, very bad at their job. That's the bottom line. And because they did not look into her, or they had conflicts of interest with her because they knew her, because they knew that she had a criminal record. And she absolutely at that time had a criminal record. And she has even a worse criminal record now because they didn't do their job. And, because they could have absolutely discredited her, and it would have been publicly, right? They could have publicly discredited her, and they could have saved so much heartache from so many people in El Paso, so much scamming. And now even she's resorted to physical violence. And this is something that's not really being reported. But when you look at the arrest over the last couple days that's been reported, she was arrested for assault. Okay, it's not just theft, it's also assault. And, you don't see that in the headlines. And I'm going to tell you why you don't see that in the headlines and why these news agencies, we put up one from Mexico because these news agencies are not leveling with the people of El Paso. Okay. So we absolutely know that she's a scam artist. We absolutely know that she lied there. So why did she reach out? It wasn't for the money, because of her connections. It was absolutely to mislead us. She's absolutely connected to the murder of our son. She's absolutely connected to the case. And that's not all. Okay. She has a criminal history. She is connected to a lot of other crimes. Of course, even the Walmart mass shooting. And she's connected to another person called, and I wrote it down here, Arturo Alba. And Arturo was murdered while we were there. if I'm not mistaken, in 2020 in Juarez, shot down, major shot down. It it really shook up all of Juarez. Okay, that someone could be. It was a cartel hit. Okay, and people would tell me that was a cartel hit because it wasn't just like one shot. I mean, they really shot many rounds to kill him. And I believe he was in his car. I need to go back and look these things up, because I'm doing it from memory of what was going on while we were there, because we had several things happening in Juarez and several things happening in El Paso, while we were rallying for Richard and trying to get answers. And we would hear things while we were handing out our flyers, handing out our prayer candles. And so Arturo Alba, I didn't pay so much attention to connect, these people together. But it seems the connection is huge, because here Dannia is targeting Richard's case, right? Targeting us and trying to mislead us. So that's targeting. And KTSM, who is run by David Candelera, he is rolling out. And I'm telling you, we dealt with Natasia Paloma a lot. And she did not do anything without getting an approval, right? She did not do anything on her own without, making sure that David Candelera checked off on what she was doing. So, in order for Dannia Katzen to get the amount of time, hours, and full use of the studios and the conference room and all of the, I mean, they rolled out the red carpet for Dannia Katzen. And the result was, really just a really lame kind of story, and it was a big story because she is a criminal and she is a con artist. And here she is targeting the family, making herself look all innocent and everything, of a missing soldier on Fort Bliss that had been murdered on Fort Bliss. That was absolutely what we have heard throughout this whole thing, except for from a few people. So we always suspected that was our number one, even though we absolutely made sure that all the other possibilities of what happened to Richard were looked at. And so this Arturo Alba is a very important person, because that person is also connected to Univision and David Candelera, because David Candelera started at Univision, right, before he went to KTSM, if I'm understanding this all right. And so I'm reaching out to all of you. I've been talking so much on the phone to everybody, all of our contacts there, about this. I'm reaching out to make sure you cooperate and you help us understand these connections, because this is very, very important, because all of these people around Dannia seem to be connected to David Candelera and the media of Univision and KTSM, and directly connected to Bill Hicks. Okay? Because Luis Rene Diaz, who is with John Briggs, right, who Loretta Lynn Hewitt complained about, that was playing politics with the Walmart case, worked with or for David Candelera at Univision. So you know, all of these people are connected, got their start uh, with or through David Candelara, Univision, and you have these people connected. Well, Danae's husband's family, sibling, is also working for David Candelara, working for KTSM, from what I understand. Okay, so you've got Jonathan Ambrese's sibling working for KTSM, David Candelara. You've got Luis Rene Diaz, who got to start working for David Candelara. You have Arturo Alba getting a start working for or with David Candelara. You've got Dannia Katzen connected through her husband, through um, this whole Fine Richard Halliday case, getting the red carpet treatment. And I'm serious. And I have a witness that was with me that saw that she got this red carpet treatment with the media, with KTSM. Who did she interview? Who did she have those days with? I mean, those hours with? It was with KTSM, David Candelara. Okay, but then it goes more. Um, who's she connected to? Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, the Walmart mass shooting case, right? Um, and so to be connected, David Candelara, what this does is connect David Candelara to Bill Hicks. And who had the most to gain from Yvonne Rosales' with removal, right? It was Bill Hicks. It was Bill Hicks. And the coverage coming from KTSM about Yvonne Rosales and about Bill Hicks are very interesting. They are very pro Bill Hicks. It's bias. And who did he hire then? He hired Luis Rene Diaz. Luis Rene Diaz works beside Bill Hicks right now with, of course, John Briggs. Because remember, Yvonne Rosales fired John Briggs, and Bill Hicks brought him back in. And Luis Rene Diaz has an extensive criminal history. It's extensive. And what is all of this criminal? Why did Arturo Alba get killed? For, the word that I understand is that he owed money. He owed money. They were dealing in fraud. They were dealing in scams. They were dealing in election interference and I know I'm not even supposed to say that. Okay, scratch that. You didn't hear that, okay? But they're dealing in politics. I should say that. That's better. They're dealing in politics. They're dealing in fraud. They're being con men. Those are the kind of crimes. The exact same thing that Dannia was campaigning for Beto O'Rourke. She was in politics. Okay, I have those pictures. So, and it connects to Lonnie Hart because this connects through a common denominator, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So the Mormons, this is connecting those together and sharing in that congregation. And so that connects, of course, Texas Hart and Dallas Hart and Lonnie Hart and this David Candelara and Luis Rene Diaz and Arturo Alba and Bill Hicks and even if they belong to that community or not, they're all connected. And of course, then you get into the Walmart case, into the defense, where you have Felix Valenzuela, who absolutely is connected to this through the LDS Church, or congregation, I should say, congregation. And then in all of this media, right? Because who was getting media? Who was getting some pictures? It was, who got the time? Texas Heart, who got the time, um, Dannia Katzen. And you just see that this is all like they have their go-tos, right? They have their go-tos, they have their groupies, and they stick with that. Um, so, and I hope that makes sense because what just happened um, is the arrest of Dannia and her husband, Jonathan, who we have been telling CID and more that there is danger here, that there is a connection to scams and all of that. And I've posted it up and I've posted it up again. And, some might be more concerned about the post itself rather than the people that she's hurting, the people that he's hurting. Um, Arturo Alba was shot to death. Shot to death. Okay? And now we have Dannia going steps further into assault, where she's arrested for assault. And, I'm hearing, and maybe I need to be corrected, but it was assault on one of the renters that she tried to scam. So this is getting into physical violence. And to have that connection with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia at 3905 Bliss Avenue is connecting dots to, all through these people, but to Mario Raskin Ortiz, the chief medical examiner, and to Veronica Escobar. That's connection to Veronica Escobar. And we know that Bill Hicks is very close to Veronica Escobar. And, this whole Angela Kachurga thing, it's this little small group of people, but they have some power, right? They have this media power. They have this DA power. And they have the chief medical examiner power, which is a judge. They are having the representative power, who has control over the FBI. And don't forget that Veronica Escobar can order the FBI. And so we know that this is with cartel, this is with this group, and this is then leads to the FBI. And wow, that is what needs to be reported over and over again, because that is what led to Richard being murdered. It is the hijacking of these positions that have led to so many deaths, so many injuries, and that Dannia Katzen's husband has siblings at work, has a sibling that works for David Candelera, right? That Luis Rene Diaz worked or was working with or got a start working with David Candelera, and now is working for Bill Hicks in the DA's office with an extensive criminal history. And is connected to Arturo Alba, who was also working and getting a start or working with David Candelera. Wow. And connecting the cases of Richard's case and also the Walmart case, and Dannia being connected through 3905 Bliss Avenue to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, being connected to the chief medical examiner. That's why these people are so brazen. They just, so what does this say to me? When I was given, a lot of people sent me screenshots of this arrest. My spidey senses went up, as my son would say, my spidey senses went up. And because these people know each other, right? El Paso Matters and KTSM, and they don't just know each other. They're like in a criminal network together, and they're up to no good. And Dannia is one of them. And are they throwing her out under the bus? Did she go too far and they're throwing her under the bus? Or what's going on? Because they're only really reporting her. I don't see, tell me where I'm wrong. I don't see where they're reporting the assault. Okay? And that's a big one. They're stopping. They're like protecting her. Whereas they have no problem smearing other people. But when it comes to Dannia, they're protecting her a bit. And they're just leaving it at theft, but it's more than theft. It's assault causing bodily injury. That's huge. And that's with someone she's trying to scam. So I hope that, we just need to listen to that over and over again and evaluate it, because what are they trying to do? Are they throwing her under the bus? Are they trying to mislead us again? I don't know. I don't know. And the fact that they're trying to, this is another thing that's very important. They're trying to give credit over and over again to the Real Fit Fam El Paso. That who's behind the Real Fit Fam El Paso? We've exposed them. It's military officers, and and they're in trouble. And so it's like the media's coming to their rescue to make them look good in the eyes of the El Pasoans there, like they're the heroes or something. But wait a minute. Why didn't they publish yet the story, our story, that we sent them on Richard, our family statement? Why haven't they done that? Why haven't they come clean? Why have they engaged in threatening us? Why haven't they connected Dannia? Tell the whole story. These two are not just con artists. They are connected to Richard's case, the murder of a Fort Bliss soldier. They're connected to the Walmart mass shooting case because of Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. They're connected to El Paso Community Foundation because Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is very close to Dannia, 3905 Bliss Avenue. And Yvonne Rosales was looking into what was going on with the Walmart victims funds. Was this fraudulent? Why were they focused on giving Rosa Maria and her family all this money and not the Anchondo baby? There is a lot of scamming, a lot that needs to be investigated. And why didn't they mention her connection with David Candelera, that Jonathan Ambrese's sibling works for KTSM? Why didn't they mention that they're connected to the street murder of Arturo Alba? Why didn't they mention, I have like 10 things, that she is connected, that they are connected to Luis Rene Diaz, who works for Bill Hicks, which makes them connected to Bill Hicks. The story is shallow. How many people get arrested for theft and assault? Okay, a lot. That story, okay. But what makes it interesting? That they left out. And how did they get arrested? because those that she was conning called the sheriff's department. That's what I heard. And the sheriffs, their spidey senses went off. And they didn't say, oh, well, that's like civil contracts, whatever. No, they went and got the warrants and they made the arrests. And before the arrests, you know, um, Dannia, and from what I understand, Dannia and her husband, Jonathan, were trying to uh, skate the scene, leave the scene, get on a bus, whatever. And the people were trying to hold them there, and that's when the assault happened. So let me read all your comments because this is an exciting day, and I think if you want real news, you come to find Richard Halliday, right? You come to find Richard Halliday because I'm not reading that they're connecting those dots, and it's not that hard to connect the dots because we know that Dannia is connected to Leilani Hart. We know that Dannia targeted our family. We know that she's connected to Dallas Hart. We know that she's connected to David Candelara, um, who is connected to Luis uh, uh, Renee Diaz, who works for Bill Hicks, right? Um, yeah, it's really big. Yes. Kathleen, thank you so much. Hello, friends. Thank you, Anicia. Um, Whatever happened to the soldier she accused of having the debit card? Uh, yeah, that soldier, and I know his name really well. Um, I think that's all going to come out because we know who he is, and that's all going to come out. And but the big news is, right? Uh, Absolutely, she treated him badly. She lied. But the big news is that Danae Katzen is connected to the Walmart mass shooting. She's connected to um, this case, the murder of Fort Bliss soldier Richard Halliday. She's connected to um, Arturo Alba. She's connected to Luis Rene Diaz, who works as the right there manager with Bill Hicks in the DA's office, who is a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, okay, with John Briggs. I mean, that is huge news. And that is all connected to Veronica Escobar, and Veronica Escobar connects it all to the FBI, okay, to the FBI there in El Paso. Um, and that is Jesus Nieto Jr., who they call Eddie, and his wife works on Fort Bliss in intelligence. And so, and you can connect uh, Angela Kachurga, which would connect UTEP. Um, but it sounds like something really big because it's all these very choice institutions and agencies, but it's these people with these key positions, and they can get really brazen and do their crime because they've got these positions covered. um, El Pasoans, this is for you, this is for you. um, if you wonder why you have crime, if you wonder why your taxes are high, if you're wondering why you get taken advantage of, if you're wondering why Veronica Escobar doesn't really care about you, if you're wondering why the news is only giving you crumbs instead of meat, if you're wondering, what's going on in your community, in your schools, everything, um, we're telling you. We're telling you. You've got a usurper for a DA. You've got an illegal um, medical examiner that is not qualified for that position, even if he was legally in the country. And, you've got Dannia um, conning people along with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, targeting our son's case, also part of the Walmart case. And, you know, just to re-listen to these live streams and um, research it yourself, because I'm going to tell you, when you research it, you're going to find that Soto Hernandez is part of it. Okay, that he's connected. He has conflicts of interest. He was not in that position just because he's in that position, right? And that means that you're not getting the best of the best for your money. All of that costs your taxpayers money, and they're putting in who they want instead of the best of the best. The best of the best to give you justice, to give you safe streets, to give you safe schools, to have a good relationship with Juarez, Mexico, a good border relationship. All of that is possible. All of that is possible with good law enforcement, right? Um, but they are profiting off of crime, and so they're producing it. They're producing the crime. They're creating the crime. They're committing the crime. So that is, yeah. What about the escort? The escort really was. We are convinced now that that was Richard's security, his whistleblowing security, because um, it was clear that he the escort wasn't an escort. They were obligated for a whistleblower to the extreme that Richard was blowing the whistle, that they had to give him a security detail. And that day that he was murdered, he didn't have security detail. Okay? That's what we are convinced now that the evidence is showing. That lied, yeah. And that's all going to come out too, and that was in the report. Thank you for asking. Did they ever provide a cell tower dump on Richard? And we're working on all of that. Now that we have the, you know, normally you can go in there and get this information pretty quick. But because of this case, it's like you have to move a mountain every time, right? It's hard work. And so now that we have the notice of death, we can get all that. So it just has to be done. But there's so many huge things. You prioritize, and it's crazy. It's amazing. Not sure if it's my phone, but it seems there is trying to scrabble this live. Oh, yeah. And I'm in a place that is not that great with Wi-Fi too. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I thought that the Wi-Fi would be good. Veronica Escobar told the American people years ago she would make sure there was an independent investigation into Richard Halliday's disappearance, and failed the American people, in my opinion. Absolutely, 100%. And she's been up to no good. Okay. And she has people working for her that are up to no good. Okay, I can tell you that right now. They're up to no good. Veronica Escobar seems to be a very worthless individual in helping the American people, or the 85,000 children that are unaccounted for. Call them missing. They are missing children. 85,000 missing children from the Fort Bliss Emergency Intake Center that Jules Tuganan Chan, was part of. Okay? He's part of that. That's on his LinkedIn. He didn't want you to see it. I should do a screenshot of the LinkedIn that I saved to put up. And he worked the Walmart case firsthand. Firsthand. Those are his exact words. Yeah, it's definitely public corruption at the highest levels. And all it's abuse of power. Absolutely. Public corruption and abuse of power in all levels of leadership, in my opinion. But Real Fit Fam care less about the first CONUS Deaths One missing soldier, Richard Halliday. Absolutely. They did not mention that Dannia Katzen was of great interest, not because her arrest was because of theft or even because of this assault with bodily injury. That happens a lot. The interest in Dannia Katzen is because she's part of the Walmart case, because she's part of Richard Halliday's murder case, because she is connected to Bill Hicks through David Candelara and connected to Arturo Alba, who was shot like with multiple bullets to death for being a con artist, right? And is connected to Luis Rene Diaz, who is working for Bill Hicks. And all of this is connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, the medical examiner, and that is connected to Veronica Escobar, which is connected to the FBI, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., which is connected to Nadal Baim, who said the FBI found Richard and he's dead, found him in Juarez, who's connected to Bradford Bugado, the lieutenant colonel in the 32nd ADCOM, which is also connected to the intelligence there, which is Nieto's wife. I mean, come on. And, I can go on and on these connections. So that is the story. That is the story. And I'll put some together and put it up for everyone to share. I've been on the phone, talking to multiple people, and then, of course, doing searches and putting this together so that the El Pasoans, so that the military community would have this information, because every service member that gets stationed in El Paso is in danger of being caught up in this. And then if something happens to your loved one, you can't even get a good medical examiner for cause and manner of death. You can't depend on that. And look at in Lavina Johnson's case, that is huge. That is huge. And I think right now that Caleb Smither is being exhumed because of something going on, right? I don't want to speak out of turn there, but that's what I saw. Yeah, we need good, qualified, trustworthy medical examiners for determining the cause and manner of death, right? That's huge. And so much crime would be prevented just by having good, qualified people in these positions. It's the abuse of power and the corruption in these positions, not the position itself. So I think, I hope I make sense on that one. Suppose she already, I don't know how they paid their bond. Probably with stolen credit cards. Yes, some was saying she keeps getting out because she was like a police family member, because she was arrested back in 2020 but got out like nothing.